Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about How Things Work by Gary Soto. First, let me give you a background on him. Gary Soto was born on April 12, 1952 in Fresno, California. Soto's childhood wasn't exactly the ideal situation. He grew up in a barrio, which is a Spanish term for poor Mexican neighborhood. Soto's father died when he was 5 years old, and this made it even harder on his mother, Angie, to provide for Gary and his older sibling. Gary's parents worked as laborers, so he would do small jobs such as picking oranges, picking cotton, and picking grapes for very minimal pay. Gary Soto has had quite the career. He has written over 20 books of poetry and prose for adults, and over 30 books for younger readers. The main focus of Soto's poetry is to write the struggle for Spanish-speaking Americans to prosper in America. Soto draws memories and ideas from his rough childhood life in the barrio. However, his poetry is still relatable and appeals to all races and ethnic backgrounds. He says, "Even though I write a lot about life in the barrio, I'm really writing about the feelings and experiences of most American kids." Now, on to the poem. Today it's going to cost us $20 to live. 5 for a softball, 4 for a book, a handful of 1s for coffee and 2 sweet rolls, bus fare, rosin for your mother's violin. We're completing our task. The tip I left for the waitress filters down like rain, wetting the new roots of a child, perhaps a belligerent cat that won't let go of a bald sock until there's chicken to eat. As far as I can tell, daughter, it works like this. You buy bread from a grocery, a bag of apples from a fruit stand, and what coins are passed on helps others buy pencils, glue, tickets to a movie in which laughter is thrown into their faces. If we buy goldfish, someone tries on a hat. If we buy crayons, someone walks home with a broom. A tip, a small purchase here and there, and things just keep going, I guess. Okay, now let's take a closer look at this. The first line makes it apparent that the tone of How Things Work is very certain. He says, "Today it's going to cost us $20 to live." He then goes on listing items and their prices, providing imagery for the reader. When Soto says we're completing our task, it represents how important it is for tasks to be completed. Next, Soto writes, "The tip I left for the waitress filters down like rain, wetting the new roots of a child." This simile, comparing tipping a waitress to rainfall, makes it simpler for the reader to understand the lesson that Soto teaches later in the poem. The shift in How Things Work comes when Soto addresses his daughter. Before this shift, it is not clear who Soto is addressing, whether it's a specific person or a general audience. The fact that Soto is speaking to his daughter humanizes him and allows the reader to relate to Soto on a deeper level. You buy bread from a grocery, a bag of apples from a fruit stand, and what coins are passed on helps others buy pencils, glue, tickets to a movie in which laughter is thrown into their faces. At this point, the reader fully understands the point Soto is trying to get across, that generosity is very important. Just a simple act of generosity keeps this monetary cycle going, in which people are able to achieve things that may seem unattainable. You're probably thinking, this is a great poem, but what does this have to do with me? Remember when I said earlier that Gary Soto draws from childhood as inspiration for his poems? Well, this is one of those poems. Soto grew up in a poor Mexican-American neighborhood where there weren't many lucrative job opportunities. When someone is in need of something, they depend on someone else's help. Soto's family was poor and in need of money, so one can make the assumption that they were very thankful to anyone that would give them something out of generosity. Soto was trying to teach the reader to be generous because there could be a world of possibilities opened up for somebody because of one kind act. Alright, that's the end. Thanks for listening, guys.
Just reveal itself.